Now, it's been brought to my attention that Mark provided a comprehensive and entertaining head-to-toe kit.
The Hocker Jaws have one downside, which is that they dye your feet blue. Doesn't really matter, I suppose. But yeah, I'd rather not look like a junior Smurf.
And clothing summary last week.
The critical bit is the underwear, so I've got the merino runderwear, which is a phenomenon, like being gently cradled. And unlike my trainers, don't turn the contents blue.
But I merely pronounced that
I was delighted with my vest,
which was deemed not satisfactory by Mike. So here is the full rundown of what I hope to wear and use for the BGR. My shoes are Mammoth 201s, size 12. Now, I'm really an 11, but I had Helen's shoe thoughts in mind about giving my feet room to be fantastic.
You want a lovely broad toe box that looks like your feet. Broad enough, long enough. Your foot should lengthen under load. If you don't allow it to, then you're missing part of the wonder of what the foot can do to help you in gait at whatever speed.
And B, the size 12s were in the sale. My new waterproof jacket is a Dare to Be blue one. Nice hood with a peak, taped seams, it's very light and thin, just a little bit big and flappy in high winds. Again, the XXL that I bought was in the sale. But it's fine when I'm wearing a pack, because that sort of tethers it down.
I loved wearing my pack this day. Made me feel like a superhero.
My pack is the 10-litre Decathlon one. It's great. Only about 25 quid, loads of pockets, nice snug fit, and I use it with a 1-litre water bladder. My trail running shorts come from Decathlon, and they're brilliant too. Nice fit, floaty, light material, lots of useful pockets, including zips at front and back. I'm planning to wear running vests for legs 2, 3 and 4, mainly because I have tattoos on my shoulders and it seems a waste to cover them up. I'll wear a light, long-sleeved Rohan fleece top that I've got for leg 1 and probably a black Salomon t-shirt for leg 5, just to look cool in the pub afterwards. I wear hilly socks, short ankly ones, and I'm still pondering whether to use poles or not.
But that feels like cheating, but then maybe it feels stupid to not use all that free power.
With my kit, I'm trying to cover the safety and the technical aspects of what you should have to be on the mountains.
Do I really properly respect the mountain?
Without spending a lot. My reality is that I live in Portsmouth and go nowhere near any high fells 99% of the time. So I don't really want to spend a fortune on clothing that I will struggle to justify to my current long-term life partner. Hi, and welcome to our podcast about the Bob Graham Round. A 66-ish mile run in the Lake District up and over 42 of England's tallest mountains in under 24 hours. Recorded throughout 2018 and 2019, this is an audio account of a year preparing for and attempting the BGR. These are our Bob Graham sounds.
That would be good.
Yeah, yes.
Which I could sort of, when I came up last month, I could sort of imagine, I did go up Skiddaw thinking, this used to be like the worst thing that ever happened to me going up Skiddaw, but now it's kind of, you know what's coming, you kind of...
Yeah.
This episode, 9C, the third part of our Ricky Nicky Ricky trilogy, includes a recce and that Ricky, both in the Lake District. The Ricky is Lightfoot, the Cumbrian runner, world champion, medalist at the World Long Distance Mountain Running Challenges. He's won the Three Peaks race, the Wasdale, the Borrowdale, the Ennerdale, the Three Shires and the Skiddaw. He's been sponsored by Solomon since 2008, works as a firefighter in Workington, and I met him before his pre-work run on a Sunday morning, which meant a very early start.
As a boat cuts the water, now I will be.
The recce involves Beany, Mark, me, and a new voice, Matt. He's a lovely friend of Beany's, great runner, not terribly experienced in the high fells, but he lives in West Yorkshire, so he gets out on lots of moorland. He comes from London and supports Arsenal. One of the key Bob Graham sounds for our team during these years of visits to recce different legs is this. The lovely, gentle English hubbub of the dining room of the Howkeld guest house at breakfast time. Howkeld is run by Laura and Jerome. The breakfast is amazing, and they are more than happy to cater for pesky part-time vegans like Beany.
Breakfast there.
Thank you very much.
It's Benedict now for you. You're welcome.
Oh wow, thank you, Jerome. You're an amazing man. That was good. So tomorrow I might bend a bit and ask something else.
I knew you would.
So I came here with Emma in November.
Yeah.
Of course, was fully
Very strict.
very strict.
Right.
But I might be different tomorrow morning.
On my wedding day, our main wedding meal was vegetarian, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we'll eat vegetarian." Bob and Joe want us to eat vegetarian. Then the next morning, I had a full cooked breakfast. Everyone was like, "What?"
Now, obviously, it's a bit fancy for a group of so-called hardened fell runners, but if we'd stayed in a hostel or camped, we wouldn't have hit the fells as well rested or as well fed, which might have made running all day more of a struggle. That's my justification, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, we have all loved it there and remained B&B loyal throughout our years of recce weekends and attempts. I heartily recommend it, and for the real creme de la menthe experience, ask for the Beany and Bob twin room at the very top. It's the best, in my opinion. Anyway, that was the sounds of breakfast on the Saturday. First, we need to flash back and hear about our Friday afternoon leg 4 recce. It's the 10th of May, 7:05, at the end of what should have been a run along leg 4. But for me, it had to be aborted very early. We drove to Honister and ran from Honister over into Wasdale, and the descent into Wasdale just killed me. I just ended up having to hobble my way down, and then I bought the run. Mark and Matt went on and ran leg 4. They're still out there, and we're going to go and meet them in a minute. And then Beany very kindly stayed with me, and we walked back and had a lovely walk and a chat. But my quads are just ruined, and I don't know why. Because I've run recently in the Purbex for sort of 3 hours. Been running regularly on Portsdown Hill near me. I ran 28.5 miles 2 weeks ago without any of that. But it is a niggly problem that I've had. It's come back a few times. So it's come back a couple of years ago when I was up here. The first day, the first descent, I got this awful cramp, and then I managed to sort of walk my way back into it, and then the following day I went out and ran all of leg 3 without a problem. But I've had it a couple of months back when I was trying to run down Butser Hill, and it left me miserable. And now I don't quite know what to make. You know, obviously in lots of ways it was a nice day today. I still walked 11 miles in the lakes up and down, and I got to see my oldest schoolmate Beany and have a good chat, and so that was great. But in terms of being 6 weeks away from the Bob Graham round and unable to run even one leg of it without legs cramping up, that's pretty poor. So obviously the logical response is you're just not fit enough. You need to sort out all sorts of things before you're ever likely to do it. But the romantic in me wants to just give it a go, and so how do I practically in 6 weeks turn it around from here? First of all, I think I decide what I'm going to do tomorrow, either a really long walk or try and run, see how I feel in the morning, and then how am I going to take the next 6 weeks? Do I go and get hypnotherapy? Is it some kind of psychosomatic thing where I panic and feel the stress and get these tensed cramps, or do I need to just go out every day and run up and down a hill for 2 hours, even if it's boring? Just do it, just to get miles and miles of up and down hill stuff into my legs, and stop cycling and just run instead? Or do I do both? Ironically, on the way to Honister, we'd been listening to this interview with Dom Irvin all about overcoming obstacles and
just deciding you're going to do it and not dropping out.
You have to make the decision whether you're going to finish or whether you're going to quit. And that's such a key decision. Now, will I or won't I? Once you decide I'm going to finish, the only question you've got to decide after that is, how am I going to finish? And that's a different mindset than am I or am I not going to.
And then within about an hour, I wanted to drop out, and in the end, did drop out. So,
So I think you can hear in my voice that I'm baffled, but remaining calm. Haven't gone into full misery mode yet. And I put that down to the fact that I am in the beautiful Lake District with some really good friends. So we went out in the car to pick up those friends, and that kept me on track.
And how did you find, Matt, the fact that a lot of it is a boulder fest? Because obviously that's something that maybe would be new for you.
Yeah, it was all new. All big, sort of difficult, different, technical. Because all the running we do, kind of, on the moors, the southwest Pennine stuff, there's none of that really, is there? I mean,
no.
There's like 2 or 3 stretches where it sort of feels a bit like that.
There's hills, and there's bog, and there's mud.
I'd forgotten how unrunnable and sort of annoying, just sort of like, oh God, I'm stumbling all the time rather than feeling like I've got any momentum. It just starts to just wear you out mentally because you're just annoyed.
And it's kind of that immediate, after the trudge, that immediate technical downhill running after you've got to the summit is really difficult if you're not used to it,
Yeah. Are you a swift descender?
No, not at all. No.
I think again you've been modest. I think on a trail you would be.
Well,
but I just think on that it's more of an art form, isn't it? It takes a lot of practice to acquire those boulder hopping skills.
Well, as Bob says, part of it is just giving in to the fact that it's shit. And you're going to kick every rock and trip over and your shoes are going to fall apart. And you're going to have to tell your wife that in addition to all the money you've spent getting here and staying here, you've accidentally spent £100 on a pair of trainers.
Oh, you're going to buy the cheapest pair in Georgefish. That's big news.
I'm going to walk in these though. I'm not going to look like I've, come up to I can't believe you didn't bring a spare pair. Trainers come around.
I think there needs to be quite a big sale on for you to get a pair of shoes for £100 in George Fisher.
Well, the RRP of these might do. They're falling to bits in 300 kilometres, so it's possibly not them.
Yeah, I was going to say they're quite new, aren't they?
Relatively. I do love them, but I don't know. I might have to get something with a proper toe box.
So, once again, there was a lot riding on Saturday's run, and after that hearty breakfast you heard us having, I went for it.
Well, what a difference a day makes. Back in the same room. It's 6:30 on Saturday the 11th of May, and been out and run 22.9 miles in 7 hours and 19 minutes, taking in most of leg 2 of the Bob Graham, setting off from Threlkeld and then going up Steel Fell and then all the way back to Keswick over a couple of other peaks and through lots of bogs and then back and down along the edge of the Derwent Water. So really long day, 7.5 hours of running, and I didn't have any of the cramps yesterday. So goodness knows what it is. I think I might see a hypnotherapist or something like that, because it just feels like it's a panic that then becomes a feedback loop of I'm panicking, so I'm tensing up, so then the cramp gets worse, and but it's clearly not an injury. And although I was really tired at points today, I could keep going through it, and feet are a bit sore and my hips a bit achy, but I'm not injured. I'm just pushing myself, and so it was great. It's so encouraging to do all of that today. I just do not know why it went wrong yesterday, why I couldn't run down that first, because there's so much descending today, and actually descended really fast. My quads were fine. You know, I enjoyed the descents. I really found that the coaching I've had in running from Helen made me able to run when I'm tired in a way that it doesn't become poor form. But yeah, I really loved it today. So I feel like I'm back in the game for making an attempt now.
Oh, what a bloody relief. Now let's go out and get hammered. No, okay, let's not. I have to be up early to interview Ricky Lightfoot and then drive 347 miles home to the south coast. But it'd be rude not to have a couple.
Right, here we are in the car park under Grisdale Pike at 5:45 in the morning after I found the right car park, and I'm with Ricky Lightfoot. Morning.
Morning, how are you doing, Ari?
Yeah, good. Is this your regular early morning run?
Yeah, some days. Like I start work at 9, so usually I get out for a couple hours before work. And it totally depends on the mood. Sometimes I'll drive out the along the road, not knowing where I'm going to go, and my run changes a few times before I actually get there.
Okay. But this is a favourite, is it? Grisdale Pike.
A lot of the time, because Grisdale's the closest fell till home and work. It's a lot easier, so it means I can run for longer.
Right. Yeah, we walked it last year. We sort of parked down in Braithwaite and walked in a bit of a horseshoe and ended up coming down Grisdale Pike. But it's steep in parts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good fell as well. You've got access to Winlatted, and you can get access to some of the western fells and you can get plenty in around there.
Right. And how are you doing at the moment? Are you fit? And you were recovering from an injury, I think.
Yeah, I had an operation. It was 2 years ago this month, a hip operation. So it took quite a while to get back from that, probably best part of 18 months. But, now, I'm feeling a lot stronger. I feel as though I'm in a position where I was before the operation. I still get the odd niggle on it and stuff like that, but,
right.
The operation worked anyways, basically.
Yeah, and you're back racing again. You did the Three Peaks race,
Yeah, I did a few races last year, and then the plan was to, race a bit, do a few more this year, and just see how it goes, really.
I'm up here this weekend recceing for our Bob Graham attempts, and you, as far as I know, have done one in the winter.
Yeah.
Why did you pick the winter, first of all?
Well, I attempted it a few years ago as well, probably 2010, and I got to Dunmail race, and it was midwinter, and the weather was just so bad. There was snow up to your thighs, and top of Dunmail Pass was covered in snow. Down in Wasdale, it's covered in snow. My support couldn't get in there, so we decided to cancel it at Dunmail race,
right?
Which was a sensible decision. But yeah, I've always thought if I did it in winter, a summer round would be, in comparison, pretty easy.
Yeah.
So that was my logic, and I did it in 2015. Did it in January.
And what's your relationship with the BG? Have you sort of heard about it since you were a tiny runner and always wanted to do it? Have you recce'd for lots of people, and supported lots of rounds and things?
Yeah, I mean the Bob Graham, I didn't start running until I was about 15, and I'd never heard of Bob Graham, to be fair.
Okay.
I'd never heard of much fell racing, to be honest, until I did that first fell race and I got sort of hooked on it. I started training with a guy who was like a caretaker at school, and me and a lot of the kids would meet him at lunch or after school to train, and we'd do a session round what we call the cross country course. And I always remember when I would knock for him, it was called Brian Taylor. I would knock on his door and he would have the certificate in his hallway, the Bob Graham round, when he completed it. And I remember having a chat with him about it a few times, and I thought, I'll never be able to do that, like running for 20 odd hours, or I think he did in 22 hours or something like that.
Right.
I thought that just seems so far out of what I'm capable of. But slowly but surely, the seed was sown back then. and it continued. And I thought, maybe I could have a go. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to have a go, and that's how it happened, you know.
Right.
Everybody's done it, and then people in the club are saying, when you're going to have a go, and you say, yeah, and it eventually developed into me doing one. So.
And will you do a summer round? Will you have another go?
Yeah, I think so, but I still feel as though, I want to run for 30-40 mile and still feel as though I can go longer. But at the minute I'm running 30 mile and feeling tired, like, so. From obviously you feel tired after 30 mile, but there's still, like, before the operation I could run a long way and feel pretty good and get the ascent and descent in. But yeah, I've still a little bit more to do if I want to have a go at a summer round, I think. And
if you're a really good runner and a well-known runner, there's a bit more pressure on it as well. You don't want to do a round that's not very good, do you?
Yeah, I mean there is pressure, but obviously I want to try and get the best out of myself, to be honest. And I feel at the minute I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
I could probably, I do think I could run round in maybe 18 hours, but to run round in 13 hours, 14 hours, I just don't feel I could do that at the minute.
Right. Were you involved in any way in Kilian's round?
No, I was away in France that weekend, and it was pretty short notice. So yeah.
Would you have liked to have been?
I always like supporting the Bob Graham round, and I've supported loads over the years. I'm supporting one in a couple of weeks as well. Yeah, it'd have been nice to be part of it, but I've done plenty of them. I'm not bothered either way, to be honest.
Right. And has his round? What do you make of it? Are you sort of thinking, I wanted to get that record, or you kind of feel differently about it?
No, I'm not. I'm not bothered really. Records are there to be broken, and anybody's entitled to have a go at the round. So. For Kilian to come and do it is great.
Yeah. It certainly upped the public profile of the Bob Graham, didn't it? I mean, it got a lot of coverage all over the place.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's sort of, it's sort of put it out there again. But I think there's a high at that moment, and people say, I want to do it, and you definitely get a lot more sort of Europeans coming across to attempt it.
Right.
But yeah, it sort of dies down again, and people forget about it, and which is good. And the numbers are still sort of 2,000, completions somewhere around there.
Yes, it hasn't gone stratospheric, has it?
No, it hasn't had it hasn't jumped up to 4,000,
No. Another runner I've spoken to for this podcast is Ricky Gates, who's a fellow Salomon runner like yourself. Did you help him on his round with Scott Jurek?
Yeah, I've done legs 1 and 2.
Right. And they had a real struggle over a day, I think, just because they were a bit battered from loads of other running. Do you remember much about their attempt?
Yeah, well, they decided to do Coaldale Horseshoe Fell Race on the Saturday, and I think they were stopping down at Derwentwater Independent Youth Hostel on, the side Derwentwater Lake, and they come back from that and they said, we fancy about doing a Bob Graham.
Right.
I can't remember what time we met in the morning, but I met them for leg 1. And
they set off at 3 in the morning or something, didn't they? For a strange time.
Yeah. And we sort of scrambled a team together. Well, there wasn't much of a team, to be fair. I think there was me, legs 1 and 2, and then there was Ian Mulvey and his partner on 3, 4 and possibly 5, I think.
Right.
So, but yeah, we set off on leg 1 and got a little bit wrong coming off skidder in the mist, and Ricky was saying, it's this way, because they'd recorded the thing before, the week before.
Okay.
And yeah, we got round all right, legs 1 and 2, but they were flying. They were under 20 hours to Dunmail Race. It was just, I think Scott's legs and his feet couldn't handle the rockiness of legs 3 and 4.
That's pretty horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite if you're asked to support, do you have are you a specialist in any particular leg? Do you have a favourite?
Not really. To be honest, I like them all. You know, just being out in the fells makes me happy. So, you know, but I love getting out at sunrise and sunset. And you know, I love going over Scawfell. That's one of my favourite parts of the lakes.
Kit-wise and food-wise, do you have any tips for doing around and essential things to remember and so on?
I think the most important thing in training is getting a good amount of ascent and descenting, because I think that, you know, you could maybe run a long way for hours and hours, but if you haven't been putting the climbs in and the descents, it's what's going to really sort of knock your legs up. It's just like accumulated, you know, after your first couple of legs, you've done, you know, 3,000 metres or so. So you need to get the descents in. Food wise and stuff, I mean, find something what you're comfortable with. I can't remember what I had on my round really. I was just snacking away the whole time. I think it's little and often it makes a big difference. But I sort of craved savoury, and I can remember eating a tikka masala going off a Scawfell, just out of a bag like. But yeah, it sorted me out. So.
And the winter round, I mean, how wrapped up are you then? And that, I mean, how many layers are you having to wear?
My round, you know, it's pretty horrible, to be honest. Like, and it was an experience that I never want to sort of experience again, which I have again since. You know, had some pretty horrible days out on the fell.
Right.
I set off on leg 1 and it was fine, but the legs 2, 3 and 4 were pretty horrible, to be honest. We had sleet and snow, and it was a really cold wind. Temperatures were really down, and you know, we'd been so wet as well. The wind chill took it down even more. But I had maybe 3 pair of trousers on, 4 jackets or something like that. And even then the rain got through and I got wet underneath, and I can remember being so cold going over sort of Esk Pike through snow and that, and there was no visibility. I was just, I thought my days were going to end up there. Like, that's how bad I felt.
Oh man. Well, it's nothing like that today. Beautiful morning. Have a good run. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks very much.
So where are you off? Are you off to run today, or are you just heading home today?
I think I'm going to have to head home today, and then I'm hoping to get one more weekend in before our attempts. We sort of did most of leg 2 and then came back, went up Steel Fell and then along sort of bridge that comes down over High Tove or something like that back into Keswick. So we sort of did about 23 mile loop yesterday, which was good. And like you say, the descent is the thing, right?
It's a big thing, like, because as soon as if you run that first descent up Blenk Catherine, you get to the bottom, you think, bloody hell, my legs are feeling that, like, it's not a good sign.
No. And I live in the south, so
it's hard for you to get it in.
So I'm just going to have to. It was a good learning curve this weekend of thinking, right, I just need to find a hill and just go up and down it as much as I can.
I think even, giving your legs a good battering a couple of weeks out, like, you know, heading to, finding you a big hill somewhere and just absolutely hammering it down. And, sometimes that works, like, but you can't. It's hard to substitute that sort of a descent, like.
Yeah, I just find that the hills in the south, there's some steep bits, but they're just so short. And then you come in and you think, it's so long.
You can run downhill for half an hour, more or less. In some places.
Yeah, amazing.
No, but I hope it goes all right. Anyways.
Yeah, thanks. I'll let you know how we do.
I know. Let us know when you're going, and I'll maybe get out if I'm around. Like.
Yeah, brilliant. All right. Yeah,
don't
will do.
Forget your thing on there.
Lovely.
Nice to meet you, Bob.
Yeah, lovely to meet you. Thank you for making time for us. That's great. Bye. It's nearly 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. I've been for a bit of a wander up to the start of leg 1 from Keswick after talking to Ricky Lightfoot, who was lovely and nice and down to earth, practical. So I just thought I'd walk from the Moot Hall just up the path to where you see the first signpost for Skiddaw, 4 miles. I'm not dressed for a proper walk this morning, and I'm just going to go back and get breakfast before driving all the way home, but it's quite nice just to stretch my legs for an hour and just mulling over in my mind what the possible training machinations are over the next few weeks, what things I need to try and fit in. My legs don't feel bad.
So, with a whole whirl of positives and negatives running through my head, I go to the Oracle.
Hi Helen, I hope you're well. It's a lovely sunny Sunday morning and I'm just driving away from the Lake District after a weekend of running, preparation for the Bob Graham.
My rock in times of BGR fitness panic. Posture and movement specialist running coach, Helen Hall.
I'm considering whether something like hypnotherapy is an idea. Just wondered your thoughts on that, whether you sort of have any ways to calm that or ways to alleviate that. I'm probably waffling a bit now, so I shall go.
And here she taps back her reply. Hi Bob, great news overall. 11 very hilly miles of walking, 23 miles of running, great news! Exclamation mark. Re your quads. Given, it seems, from your description to be symmetrical, the first thing I'd look at is your electrolytes. Are you taking them on board? Is your sweat salty? Have you added more to your general diet as well during the efforts? If the answer to all of these is yes, then I'd use EMDR. Remember that weird hippie music? In your headphones for the last 15 to 20 minutes of a climb to calm the system and preempt the building anxiety. But it's this text exchange that could be what my BGR will hinge on. Me. Helen, do you think not cycling for the next 6 weeks until our Bob Graham and just running would be good for my quad health? Helen. Yes, I'd put money on it. Me. Fab. Just what I needed to know. Thanks.
So it was a good weekend, just a funny little postscript. It's Sunday morning and I'm now driving away from Keswick, sadly, on a beautiful sunny morning. The Fred Wetton cycling race is on, so there are lycra-clad men and a few women pouring past me as I drive off down the A66, heading home, feeling that it went pretty well on balance, but it's been a good wake-up call to what needs to be done over the next 6 weeks. So I just have to see now how I can try and fit that into family life. Not panic about it, but just try and get as much hills run as I possibly can. I'm now just driving past Threlkeld, so in between Blencathra and Clough Head. Pretty exciting seeing them and getting that taste of imminent attempt.
Oh, and when I get back, I get some earth-shattering muscle cramp news from a friend of my wife's.
Now here's a funny thing. I got home and was reacquainting myself with my wife, and we were chit-chatting about what had gone on whilst I was running in the lakes over the weekend and she was at home, and she had a friend come and visit who's got another friend who is in some kind of clinical research and was looking into muscle cramps. My wife Jo had been talking to Tracy about Tracy's friend who does this research, and Tracy said scientists are not really sure what causes cramps, but one thing that came out in all the research was that one thing that stops them better than anything else is vinegar, and in particular the vinegar from jars of pickles. I hate vinegar and I hate anything pickled. I've just had a teaspoon of the juice from a jar of Rosebud Preserves English pickled onions, which was pretty foul, and then for good measure a teaspoon of the juice of a jar of pickled jalapeno peppers. Both foul. I'm now washing it down with a beer. But I'm going to do a spoonful of that each day, and apparently then what ultra runners will do is take a sachet of malt vinegar with them, so that if they get cramps they can down that. So I'm going to do that and consume it on the way up Skiddaw, or near the top of Skiddaw, so that I'm preventing the cramps. So now I feel like that's one more box ticked. All that remains is for me to run 70 miles in 24 hours over 42 peaks. So yeah, it's all to play for.